Good morning, everybody. It is Marty, the JavaScript party. It is 8:44 a.m., March 17th, 2026. Woo woo. It's like 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside, something like that. 27 degrees. So it's below freezing. 29 degrees and sunny. So it's super cold. And it is we almost always have that around here, like a mid-March sort of frost. Oh, I totally forgot to bring my peas in. Oh no. Anyways, so I guess we're gonna see what happens when you let freeze peas that are growing do that. So yesterday I was sort of interacting with ChatGPT, and I was kind of sharing some of my ST layouts and all that. And basically, I noticed something that I had never noticed before. I was like, I wanted to give it like my visualization, a non 3JS thing, and all we have are 3JS things because you know what? There is no visualization, there's no component. But then if we go here, you notice we have seven, and then if we go here and then we hit back, now we have nine, and this is because we have our viz component and we have our st visualization. Now I'm curious if I go back, if we end up with a new viz component. Very, very curious. Boom, back. Nope. We still have the same viz component. And I think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because the thing is once you've created it, then as the actual 3JS visualizations, the actual 3JS object, SVG objects are destroyed and recreated. This is a reference back to our side. So it kind of survives um, I don't even know what the right word is, but and it is interesting because like the parent, so these are all children of this guy, right? So we have an st visualization ID is 9, but then we have a viz component of 1 and a render ID of 1. Oh, so we have a viz component of -1, and that's, I think, because the viz component at this point doesn't exist anymore. But it kind of does, I guess it makes sense that it probably should stay at 8. That should be our viz component because the thing is it's going to change, and I don't know. So we have a little bit of a gap there, and it's a gap that there's just no way we would have ever seen without this tool, without this view here. And I don't know. I just like I'm generally down in the weeds coding, and I've just never really thought about these sorts of ideas before. So anyways, it's 8:47, and I believe what we're working on at this point is the I think I might be in the wrong place. So let's look at our console log and see if that gives us any hints of what we're supposed to be working on. Route type entities. I don't see anything in here. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to start over again. So the general idea, not all the way over, but the general idea is that this delete button deletes ST visualizations. So it would delete this guy here. So what happens if we do delete it? I'm curious. So we'll delete it, hit back. Okay, so it did get rid of 2, 8, and 9. So the ST visualization, the ST component, and the ST camera are gone. But the ST scene is still there, the ST mesh is still there, and the ST animation. And I'm starting to remember that when we did our ST, our story, our issue is to delete the ST animations, but really we need to delete the ST scene first. Then we need to delete the ST mesh, and then we need to delete the ST animation. But the thing is one of the core reasons for this application, like one of the things I absolutely want to make sure is that I could like reuse things. So I don't want the ST scene to be deleted unless it is not being used anywhere else. I mean, yeah, if I'm deleting the visualization and I send a command to delete the st scene, I want the st scene to double check that it actually isn't being used anywhere else before it deletes it. But the thing is right now we can count on that because you can't use it anywhere else. But we need to sort of balance between carving out space for the st scene service to be able to determine if it's being used anywhere else, but we don't want to over engineer that because we just don't understand it enough. But anyway, so we kind of have to start over again. I don't even think, yeah, right now we won't have anything there. So, so now we have this. We kind of have to start all over again with the delete. So we got to figure out what happens in delete. Oh, so we see that I see that we did make a change in renderer service. Ah, delete. Yeah, so this is where we were at yesterday. So we want to delete the scene, and then we want to, so here we're deleting by camera ID. So we want probably something very similar, the st scene service, delete by scene ID. And then, so let's go back and look at this and see, this is why this view is just so important. See, a camera doesn't have anything except itself, right? Like camera is just itself and its own attributes, but a scene has meshes. So this one has like a larger thing. So whenever you delete a scene, you're going to want to probably send a S to st meshes to delete that, and then you're going to want to say to st animations to delete that. Um, and each one of them, like, where does the intelligence, right? You're like, so where does the brains to know whether it's already being used by is being currently used by something else beyond what you're deleting it for? Where does that live? And it's just like that is, to me, um, a very complex question, and I'm going to go with that it lives in the st scene service. So the st scene service will know if it's being used somewhere else, and then it just won't delete it if it's being used by something else. So that is a lot. So let's go to st scene service, which I'm assuming is like in the same directory as, oh, there's our st scene service. So we already have a reference to it. There you are. So does it have a delete scene by ID? No, it does not. So let's do this. And I can't at this point, just to be clear, I don't know the whole path in front of us. I just know that we do need a function to delete a scene by ID. That we do know that. That's all I know at this point. So delete scene by ID. And I'm pretty sure that since it has to be smart enough to know if the scene is being used in other renderers, right? It can only be used in a renderer. So actually I need probably the renderer ID. And then I need to probably ask the renderer service, hey, I need a function probably in the renderer service that says, hey, how many, like, is this being used in anything other than the ID I want? So I'm going to want my st scene ID. So you see up here, I just called it ID, and that was because back in, does it tell me? Yeah. So back 12 months ago in video 57, I um, decided that there's enough context here in the name of this function to know that the ID is the scene ID. I have sort of re-changed that philosophy, that attitude, that mentality. My mentality now is that when I'm in the code itself, I want to be able, I don't want to have to keep in my thought tray that I'm in, that what I'm dealing with is a scene ID. So I've changed that. So now I want, and then we got st renderer ID, right? And then this is just going to return a Boolean. And then for now, we're just going to return true. And that is a pattern that I have picked up since I started really taking unit tests seriously. Is just always returning something just so it'd be easy to do that. And I can't believe how many times I've been like, oh, and this is when I should return true. Like usually this is exactly how it starts, and then in a minute or two I'll realize what it is that I want to return on. I don't know what it is right now. Um, I guess it's deleted, right? Let deleted equals true. So I guess if we did, um, I guess if we did go to delete it, but we're found out that it's used by something else, we return a false, which then makes unit testing so much easier, right? Because we know, hey, if there's already, like in the future, we're going to be able to say, hey, if there's already if it's being used by something else, then don't. So now we need to determine, right? Determine if the scene is being reused by anything. And honestly, we could very well at some point in the future also not even want, like when we delete something, I wouldn't be surprised if we add something where like all you do is delete the renderer, but everything else is not lost. So like this is delete scene by ID. Um, and so how will we do that? Well, we might add like another like cascade or something like that, which means like to delete all the ones and then um, equals true. So that would be like our default. But if we sent in false, that would mean don't delete any children. Let's keep the children or something like that. But I don't want to code that right now because I don't know exactly the best way to do it. And I don't think it's going to be that hard. Like there's no real benefit of carving out a space for that at this point. But I do think there's a huge benefit for carving out a space, you know, um, um, carving out a space for like determining if it's being reused. So if we wanted to return like may so this seems like a good idea, right? Determine if the scene is being reused by anything, but I don't want to have a whole bunch of logic in this for that. And I do think the base thing I want to know is um like get renderers for scene ID, right? And then we're going to get a scene ID. And then that one is going to be, what is my problem? Oh, I don't have this one done. A number. And it's going to return an array of numbers. And for now, I'm just going to return an empty array. So the job of this thing is to return me a list of scenes, scene IDs that a renderer is being used for. Return renderers for a given scene ID. Again, this is like an example of um, like some code that I don't necessarily need now, but I kind of want to have it. So let's see, const scene IDs, renderer IDs, st renderer IDs. And we're going to return that st renderer IDs. So basically, Um, so basically what that's going to do is that's going to return that, and then I want to know is render is scene ID reused. Uh, Deletable. I'm going to call it deletable. I don't know if that's the right word at this point. Deletable. And that's going to return a Boolean. Now we are a bit over engineering this at this point. Um, st scene ID. And that's going to be a number. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to get, I'm just going to return deletable. Let is deletable equals false. And then we're going to return is deletable. All right. So now we can go get the list from here, right? So const render IDs equals this dot get render for scene ID. And it is like it's hard. It's really hard to know exactly um um what like when you're just setting aside and carving out space for future growth versus when you're over engineering. Like there's such a fine line between those two. Ooh, I was supposed to start work a minute ago. Check for scene ID. Render IDs. All right, time to go. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.